If disaster had a face, it would look like this. You recognize him. This is Boris Johnson, the British Prime Minister. He has set a whole new benchmark for being disastrous. Watch.
That you love, but the that you love. The woeful imbalance in productivity across the country. Who's been to? Hands up anyone who's been to Peppa Pig World? Not enough.
What's wrong with Boris Johnson? Well, we don't know. We recently spotted the British Prime Minister at the coastal town of South Shields. He was supposed to meet British business leaders there. On the 22nd of November, Johnson found himself in a room full of audience. He walked up to the podium with one hand in his pocket, another clumsily holding a bunch of papers. All seemed well in the beginning. It was, business as usual. Things began going south when Johnson was spotted looking troubled. Whether it was his trousers or something else, we couldn't tell. 2 minutes later, the Prime Minister was back at it. A couple of minutes later, the Prime Minister was not himself anymore. While pitching the idea of EVs to business leaders, Boris Johnson decided to transform himself into a car engine.
EVs may not burble like sucking doves, and they may not have that that you love, but they have so much torque. EVs may not burble like sucking doves, and they may not have that that you love, but they have so much torque.
All the vroom, vroom and brah left the Prime Minister off track. He veered off course. He lost his notes. So he stood there scrambling for the right piece of paper for 21 long seconds. Here it is.
Forgive me. People will have the confidence to stay nearer the place they grew up, to start business.
Secure more funding.
It has very safe streets. Then a pig that looks like a hairdryer, or possibly a sort of Picasso-like hairdryer. Forgive me. People will have the confidence to stay nearer.
Could it get any more awkward? The answer is yes. When Boris Johnson finally found his notes, he found nothing noteworthy written on them. Either he had lost the right order or picked up the wrong bunch. Again, we don't know, but he did end up talking to full-grown adults about Peppa Pig, the cartoon.
I don't know if you've been to Peppa Pig World. Who's been to? Hands up anyone who's been to Peppa Pig World. Not enough.
The Peppa Pig World is an amusement park. It's not a business park. But the Prime Minister had trouble wrapping his head around the fact that business leaders were not frequenting facilities meant for children.
But the real lesson for me, going to Peppa Pig World, and I'm surprised you haven't been there, was about the power of UK creativity.
Did I mention Boris Johnson was at the park 24 hours before the event? Doing what, you ask? Riding a push car. What else? Here's what he realized while riding the toy car.
Peppa Pig World is very much my kind of place. It has very safe streets, discipline in schools, heavy emphasis on new mass transit systems, I notice, even if they're a bit stereotypical about Daddy Pig. Now, I think that is pure genius, don't you, Peppa Pig?
Pure genius. What would the poor audience say? We're too busy adulting to follow Peppa Pig? Or we're too busy running businesses? Or the park is not even in this town, for God's sake? One question that I'm sure crossed your mind too was asked by a reporter after the event.
In your speech to the CBI, you lost your notes, you lost your place, you went off on a tangent about Peppa Pig. Frankly, is everything okay?
I think that people got the vast majority of the points I wanted to make, and I thought it went over well.
Went well, he says. The British media begs to differ. All's well is not the message in the publications or the Downing Street. The BBC quotes Liberal Democrat leader Ed Davey as saying that businesses are crying out for clarity. Instead, all they got was Boris Johnson rambling on about Peppa Pig. Political commentator Kevin Maguire has suggested that Boris Johnson should have stayed in Peppa Pig World I'm quoting, his bizarre performance and speech at the CBI conference will alarm business leaders, Tory MPs and voters. Reports say the British Prime Minister is losing the confidence of the Tory party. Conservative MPs are worried about Johnson's competence. There are reports of rebellion within the party. Apparently, Johnson's leadership is not working. And this feeling has exacerbated after the disastrous vroom, vroom, brah, brah that he just did. GB News says, we are really not laughing now. It isn't funny. But you know what? Actually, it is funny. Guess who the joke is on? The Great Britain. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.